Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Poppins Cracking. This D-Boss reacted to Sunny V. Tuvis. How to win Joe Rogan beef with his father on YouTube. What? This sounds very messy. There are some things you should just keep offline, but let's see what happened with them. Let's watch.
Joe exposed his own terrible father.
My real father was crazy. He was like a psychotic person.
It strangely became a TikTok beef.
You lied about me. Your father. You owe me a big apology.
You'll need a bit of context. Joe was born in August 1967 to Joseph Rogan Sr. and his mother Susan Lembo. As a child, Joe thought his dad was awesome.
Well, at the time, I thought that my father was like a hero. I think every kid thinks like that about his dad, especially if your dad is like an imposing figure.
But at the age of only 5, his parents got divorced, at which point Joe and his mother moved to San Francisco, where she remarried, giving Joe a stepdad. Meanwhile, his biological father, Joseph Rogan Sr., lived his own separate life as a cop in New Jersey, leading him and Joe to completely lose contact. But as he entered his teens, Joe realized his father wasn't exactly a hero. In a 2015 Rolling Stone interview, Joe explained, "All I remember of my dad," he says, "are these brief, violent flashes of domestic violence. But I don't want to complain about my childhood. Nothing bad ever really happened to me. It was just confusing, you know. He was just a very violent, scary guy. After the split, we moved to San Francisco and that was it. Never heard from him again." It was further mentioned that Joe really would rather not discuss the topic, made apparent by its lack of discussion on the podcast. For the first 4 years of the Joe Rogan Experience, he never once mentioned his biological father. But all of this changed on episode 118, when Joe began to expose exactly who his father was.
All my damaged shit came from my real father before I was 7. My real father was crazy. He was like a psychotic person.
He explained some of the worst things that his dad had done.
He beat the
like he would be the type to come
He beat
over.
the out of my cousin.
Really?
Yeah, he beat my cousin up. He picked my cousin up by his hair, threw him in. He was a big guy, big, scary, crazy cop from New Jersey. I got to see worst case scenario, someone who just can't keep it together, smacks women, beats the shit out of kids.
Further adding in the Rolling Stone interview, when I was 5, I had a fight with one of my cousins. Punched him in the face over something stupid. My dad pulled me aside and I told him the truth of what happened. He said, "Did you cry?" I said, "No." He said, "Good, don't ever cry." I mean, he was happy that I punched my cousin.
He didn't give a that I was in a fight. He just wanted to make sure there was no crying bitches in the street. It was intense.
Not great advice for a 5-year-old.
I was punching everybody after that. I was like, all right, you're getting punched. It was so stupid. It was like the worst way of raising a child ever.
At this point, however, Joe was barely famous, and as a result, his father won't respond directly to the allegations. All he will say is, "I don't talk about people the way they talk about me. That's not in my DNA. What's gone is gone." Despite his father denying the allegations, Joe had clearly been through something.
There's something about like seeing someone you're close to who's an adult beating up like a 10 or 11-year-old. You ever see that before?
To the extent that it changed who Joe was as a person.
Is there a violent person in there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of violence in me for sure. I don't know if it's genetic or learned or...
Your mom and dad broke up early on. Is it connected to the dad at all?
I'm sure it's connected to him also because he was violent and it made
He gives violent vibes though, I'm not gonna lie.
I feel very scared to be around him, but I also think it's connected in who he was as a human. His transfer.
I don't know if it's the bald head or what, but something about him looks like he'll punch a wall.
In my DNA.
In the meantime, Joseph Rogan Sr. had 2 twin daughters, automatically making them Joe Rogan's half-sisters. One of them told the Daily Mail, "I was 19 years old when my father told me about Joe Jr. He was not even famous yet. He was a comedian and did a show called News Radio. We looked him up on the computer and emailed him asking to meet and explained that his father would also like to meet him. Joe did respond, but not kindly. He referred to my father as a sperm donor, so my sister and I backed off and never emailed him again. Joe clearly had no interest in reuniting with his father.
Did you ever want to meet your dad? Did you ever... See, you know what's funny? My mom...
I mean, I met him. I knew him until I was like 6.
Instead, using the experience as a learning lesson.
It made me realize that you can't count on people, but you can count on
trust
some
issues,
people.
man.
Yeah, definitely. definitely a
That's trust issues right there.
Become someone that people count on.
But while Joe thought his dad wouldn't see what he had said,
My parents, like regular people,
Your
no.
parents don't listen to the show.
No,
They got shit to do.
they don't. But if they did, they're boomers. They're full on.
it turns out Joe Rogan Sr. had always been watching. Conveniently, after Joe had made hundreds of millions of dollars, his father and half-sister went public via TikTok.
So for all you Joe Rogan fans out there, Joe's been telling his side of the story for 27 plus years. Now it's time for the original Rogans to tell our side of the story.
It begins with Joseph Sr. first calling his son out.
Lied about me. Your father.
I just automatically don't trust someone who would abandon their child at 5 and 6 and just never talk to them again. But now you want to get online and talk shit? Fuck out of here.
Joe. Just had enough. You couldn't handle me. 81 years old. You couldn't handle this guy right here.
What?
And when you said I beat up kids, I beat up other women. How could I get away with that? You lie. We all know you lie. You owe me a big apology.
Whilst his half-sister supported that their dad did nothing wrong.
Joe, you were taken away at a very young age. Unfortunately, you did not get to
I
grow
hate
up.
when people speak on shit that they know nothing about. All you know is his side of the story. And obviously he has motive to lie about it. Shut up. You were not there. Shut up.
With the man that
You
we
wasn't
were
even
fortunate
born.
enough to grow up with, that my kids are fortunate enough to grow up with.
They try to make it seem like they simply wanted to talk.
Come here, sit down, and me and you talk. That's it. I won't tell nobody what was said. I'm a stand-up guy. I ain't like you making up stories so I can make
But you want to
money.
meet me?
However,
Fuck out
money
of here.
seemed like the more obvious motive.
You got all the money, everything, but you know what you don't have? You ain't got 2 balls.
I love when I see the
Why would
comments.
he wanna
They
say
just
that?
want the money. They want the money bag. I have a box, Pandora's box. And if I open it, Joe, things would get really ugly.
The video concluded with his father stating this,
Family is everything.
leading him and the daughter to get
family like
mercilessly
this.
roasted. Family is everything. The guy who left his
Yeah,
kid.
that part too,
Son,
the
now that you're
irony.
worth 500 million, I want to fix our relationship. His dad was silent for 27 years about this. He conveniently waited until Joe Rogan was the most powerful voice in the country and worth 110 million to come back into his life and square everything up. If it was about blood, he would have been there 50 years ago making things right. Despite the heavy backlash, Joe's family doubled down, stating on a press tour, "Growing up, my sister and I just had such a happy childhood. I just can't tell everyone enough what a great father we had."
That does not mean he was a good father to Joe. He clearly wasn't. He abandoned him. He could have been good to y'all because he felt so guilty of how he treated Joe. Shut up.
God has blessed us, she said. My father has never been violent ever. That is why Joe Jr.'s claims are such a shock to us. My father has never even raised his voice to us. He is the epitome of a wonderful father. However, a podcast episode they did shortly after again portrayed the opposite. Joseph Sr. introduced his son like this.
As he was growing up, what did you notice in Joe?
He was soft.
Soft?
Oh.
He's soft in what way, sir?
He wouldn't get involved with people, and he wasn't a tough kid.
That sounds like a
And then
loving
proceeded
father.
to state.
Everybody out there, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Joe's full of shit and playing. He went to drama school. You can see he's a drama queen. Everything is drama to him.
If he's that crazy at 81, I can only imagine when he was 40. He then accuses his son of being gay.
Joe has sugar in his tank?
I bet on that.
Did you see signs of that when he was young?
He was 5, you weirdo.
Long time ago.
Did he ever show interest in girls?
He was
I haven't
5.
seen him since he was 7 years old.
Or
I
7.
didn't know who the girl was.
But it was clear that his father was simply bitter.
I think the wrong thing they did was give that #1 over his head. And if you look at his head, it got bigger.
I believe he probably was 5 or 6. I think Joe probably recalls a bit better than this 81-year-old man.
Bigger than his head.
Despite this, Joseph Sr. still wanted to meet his son,
No.
stating, "I'm on my way out.
No.
I'm 80 years old. I'm in the
Well,
rearview mirror, but I would like to see
no.
him. I definitely would sit down with him because he needs to listen to my side of
You're
the story."
talking so much
However,
shit.
calling Joe out made this way less likely because recently, when Bert Kreischer asked Joe about his father, Joe refused to give the topic attention.
But is your dad still alive? Yeah. Is your dad still alive?
Yeah, allegedly.
Positively, however, it's made Joe a better person.
Because I watch my kids I watch them, I talk to them, I communicate with them. I didn't have a good childhood. So for me, it's important to be a good dad. Talking to them, treating them like I'm not just their dad, but also I'm their friend and I care about them.
Yikes, this is really messy. Hate to see it though, because, you know, beefing with family online just seems horrible. Like, y'all should be able to sit down and discuss things offline. But apparently in this case, they just wanted clout and to, you know, get more TikTok followers or views or whatever the fuck. But thinking that he would want to sit down and talk to you when you talking shit about him, accusing him of being gay and all this other weird shit doesn't make any sense. Hot mess. Good luck to Joe. Y'all let me know what y'all think though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!